My hand still trembles when I think about it. After that night at the abandoned hospital, the world I knew shattered. It wasn't a slow crack, it was an explosion. Suddenly, the veil was gone. My third eye, fully awakened, didn't just give me glimpses anymore. It was a constant, overwhelming flood of images, sounds, and feelings from a world I was never meant to see. Walking through the city became a nightmare. The bustling streets I once loved were now a chaotic tapestry of the living and the dead. Spirits lingered on every corner, transparent figures replaying their last moments, lost souls whispering pleas for help that no one else could hear. A woman in a vintage dress eternally waits for a bus that will never arrive. A group of children in old-fashioned clothes play hopscotch on a sidewalk, their laughter silent to the living world. At first, it was just sad, a constant reminder of the fragility of life. I tried to ignore them, to focus on the solid, living people around me, but it was like trying to ignore the air I was breathing. They were everywhere. I learned to cope, or so I thought. I developed a sort of tunnel vision, focusing only on the path directly in front of me, blurring out the spectral chaos at the edges. I'd turn my music up, trying to drown out the disembodied whispers. It was exhausting. I was living in two worlds at once, and the strain was starting to break me. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see faces, gaunt, pleading, angry. My friends noticed the change. They'd say I looked tired, that I was distant. How could I explain that I was constantly trying to have a normal conversation while a spectral old man was staring at me from across the cafe, his eyes hollow voids of regret? But the lingering spirits of the city were nothing compared to what came next. It started as a feeling, a cold spot in the air that would follow me. A sudden drop in temperature in a crowded, warm subway car. The scent of decay and damp earth on a sunny afternoon. Then I started seeing it. A flicker in my peripheral vision. A shadow that moved too quickly, too deliberately, to be natural. It was the entity from the hospital. The dark, malevolent thing I'd felt in that decaying surgical wing. It hadn't forgotten me. It had followed me. Unlike the other spirits, this one was not a lost soul. It was ancient, powerful, and filled with a hunger I could feel in my bones. It didn't just exist, it hunted. It began to test me, to play with me. At night, I'd hear scratching sounds from inside my walls, slow and deliberate. Taps on my window, 3 floors up. My reflection in the mirror would sometimes lag a second behind my movements. Its smile just a little too wide, its eyes a little too dark. Objects in my apartment would move. A book I left on the table would be on the floor. The kitchen knives would be rearranged. Small things meant to make me question my own sanity. The fear was a constant companion, a cold knot in my stomach that never went away. I was terrified to be alone, but I was even more terrified to be around people. What if it hurt them to get to me? This entity wasn't bound by the same rules as the others. It was intelligent, it was patient, and it was getting bolder. One evening, I was walking home from work, forcing myself to keep a steady pace, to not look at the spectral figures lining the street. The sun was setting, casting long shadows that danced and twisted. That's when I saw it clearly for the first time. It was standing at the far end of the street, under a flickering streetlight. It was tall and unnaturally thin, a silhouette of pure darkness that seemed to absorb the light around it. It had no face, no features, just a void in the shape of a man. As I stared, frozen in place, a single glowing red eye opened in the center of its face, fixing on me. It didn't move, but I felt its presence rush towards me like a physical blow, a wave of cold and malice that stole the air from my lungs. I ran. I didn't care who saw me. I just bolted, my heart hammering against my ribs. I could hear it behind me, not the sound of footsteps, but a low, guttural scraping sound, like stone grinding against stone. I didn't dare look back. I fumbled for my keys, my hands shaking so badly I could barely fit the key in the lock. I slammed the door shut, leaning against it, gasping for breath. The scraping sound stopped right outside my door. Silence. A heavy, dreadful silence that was worse than the noise. I knew it was out there, waiting. I was trapped. Trapped in my own home. Trapped in a city teeming with the dead and hunted by a creature from a nightmare. The third eye, the gift I thought would grant me some kind of enlightenment, had become my curse. It painted a target on my back for things that dwell in the shadows. I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't run from it. The entity wasn't just in the city, it was connected to me now. I had trespassed in its world, and now it was claiming mine. Days bled into nights. I barely ate. I barricaded my door with furniture. A futile gesture I knew wouldn't stop it. The tapping on the window became banging. Whispers slithered from the vents, speaking my name in a voice that was a chorus of suffering souls. I saw its shadowy form in every dark corner, its single red eye watching me, always watching. It was feeding on my fear, growing stronger with every sleepless night, every frantic heartbeat. I realized I couldn't fight this alone. The ordinary world had no answers for me. Doctors would call me delusional. The police would think I was crazy. I was caught in the space between, a place no living person is meant to inhabit. My only hope was to find someone else who understood, someone who lived in this hidden world and knew its rules. I had to find a way to fight back, to sever this connection, or this entity would not stop until it had consumed me completely. My search for answers had turned into a desperate fight for my soul. And I knew with chilling certainty that the real horror had only just begun. The abandoned hospital was just the beginning. The real battle was for my life. Thanks for watching. If you've ever had an experience you can't explain, you're not alone. Share your stories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter of this terrifying journey. Stay safe out there.